and it uncovered the largest embalming workshops in the necropolis there. To shed more light on this, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Ola El Egezi, our historian and researcher. A very good morning to you, Dr. Ola.
Good morning.
Well, first, congratulations. And it seemed that under each stone, particularly in Saqqara, we are going to find something different, something to reveal some of the secrets of our ancient Egyptian civilization. Would you please, before going into details, give me a brief idea about this latest discovery?
Well, yes, Saqqara is full of treasures and still not uncovered. But the latest discovery is the discovery of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, headed by Dr. Mustafa Al-Waziri. They were digging and uncovering what we call the cliff of the bastion, where there are the tombs of the cats, known as
sacred animals.
Sacred animals, and the goddess Bastet, the cat goddess.
Yeah.
So in this latest discovery, they found tombs of different periods of the history. The first level was the Old Kingdom, and they discovered a very nice tomb with colored scenes, so beautiful colored scenes from the time of the 5th dynasty, and also other tombs on the different levels of the cliff. From the Old Kingdom, New Kingdom, and latest period of the history. These are the main discoveries for tombs. But the most important also is the discovery of workshops, mummification workshops.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we see really all the tools used in mummification and all the material used for mummification. First of all, the floor is as if there was a bed for the mummy in limestone, not a real bed, but just as if there was a stone, as if it was a pillow. It's higher, a bit higher than the level of the rest of the stones, and it is where they put the mummy for mummification. We have in the four corners of this room stands for pillars for the fence of mummification, and all the objects used, the surgery objects used, very, very thin and very accurate tools for surgery.
And because of this, we say that there are two workshops. I mean,
yes,
this is the
there
way.
was one for animal mummification, and the other one for the human mummification. And it seems that the one for animal mummification was also used later for human mummification. So there were two workshops, yes.
And they were both discovered intact. I mean, as is.
Yes, exactly. As is, with all the tools, with all the pots where the material was put. As I told you, the surgery tools very, very thin, and the linen wrap as it was before using it. The linen for the bandages, for the mummification bandages, and all the materials used for, like how do you call it?
Dr. Ola, what you're saying is that this is the very first time for us to know the details of the mummification process with this latest discovery?
Yes.
Or we are building on what we have discovered before, so we are continuing our data or continuing the collection of the full information?
Yes, exactly. If we had the information on papyri in documents, now we have real information.
And the tools themselves which were used. Of
course, the tools very thin and very accurate small tools for extracting and opening the body and
inside organs, and how to put them on the Canopian tubes, and how to preserve them. All this is great, but let's move to more details, if you permit me. This means that the mummification was developed from a dynasty to the other to reach this perfection?
Well, I think that maybe, but we have the perfection from the beginning. But it's for the first time we find the real mummification things that were used for mummification. But the process itself was known.
Yeah.
But there was another discovery 3 years ago for the late Ramadan in the digs of the 26th dynasty, where the pots had their label on it with the material which was inside the pot,
Yeah.
also for mummification, but it was not on the same level as this one.
Yes. And is it different between a pharaoh, I mean a king or a queen, and a laborer, for example, or the mummification process was the same?
No, of course, there were levels. Of course, the poor could not have the same level of mummification as the rich ones,
Yeah.
or the kings and queens. Of course not.
Yep.
There's simple mummification for the poor ones.
Yeah. I also would like to shed more light on the mummification of sacred animals, because I think this was not discovered except recently. Why in the first place this took place, when exactly it started, and to what extent the materials themselves or the process itself was different or became different, of course, from a human being to a cat, for example.
Well, the cats or the animals we found wrapped in bandages. They were very, very accurately done and very, very well done. So the mummification of the cats or apes or any type of animals is because it was a sacred animal symbolizing a certain goddess or a god. That doesn't mean that they were worshipping these animals, of course not. But the process of mummification for animals was the same as for humans.
Dr. Ola, when it comes to Saqqara, as I said in my intro, it seemed that under each stone you were going to find something related to our ancient Egyptian civilization. What's the secret?
Saqqara has always been a very important, well, Memphis is the capital, and Saqqara is the necropolis of Memphis. And Memphis has always been a very, very important city, whether in the Old Kingdom, in the first period, in the first and second dynasties, the third dynasty, of course, with the step pyramid of King Zoser, and the fifth dynasty also we have the pyramid of King Unas, who has the first pyramid text inside, and then all over the history, the great functionaries and the viziers or the ministers of the fifth dynasty were buried there. And later on, in the New Kingdom also, the site has become a very, very important one. Memphis was a military garrison. It was close to the frontiers, the north-eastern frontiers. So it was a garrison, an army garrison, and that's why on my site, in my discoveries, I find the tombs of the high generals of the army in the time from the time of Ramesside, the Ramesside period, from the time of Ramses II.
Yeah.
And these are also very, very important finds, and we
Sure.
are still finding other tombs every year.
You know, I'm asking this question because I really want to know more about the changes which should take place on our tourism map. Because with all my, it's not admiration, I am in love with Luxor, of course. I am in love with this wonderful city. But also, I'd like to speak about Saqqara, about Tun al-Jabal, about Tel al-Amarna, about San al-Hagar in the Delta, about such places as of the hotspots when it comes to our tourism roadmap. How we can change our roadmap to let the whole world know that Egypt as a whole is the gift to humanity, and we can enjoy ourselves and enjoy the richness of our civilization in many places all over Egypt, not only in a certain place.
Well, tourism has to develop their tours because we cannot do everything in 2 or 3 or even 4 days. Where the tour guide or the tourism office has to know different has to have different schedule for their visit. So those who are going to visit Tuna Al Jabal, Tal Al Aman, and so on will not be able to go to maybe to the pyramids, or maybe they begin with the pyramids, and those who are in the pyramid area are going to make Cairo. But of course, it needs a very long tour to do everything at one time. So I think that the tourism should schedule different tours, and it should be longer than that, because even when they do a tour for one day, they do it very quickly. They should focus a bit, or take it slower, so that the people could enjoy it more. But when you have a schedule, quickly, you have to do this and then that and then that. It is too quick for the tourists to see or enjoy. So, well, Egypt needs a lot of tours and a lot of, maybe 1 month tour to see everything. But that quick 3 or 4 days tour is not enough.
And every detail counts, in
Of
fact.
course, and it depends on the tourist himself, because there are tourists who are really interested, and there are tourists who are just seeing things quickly and and they want to see everything, but not very deep visit.
Dr. Ola, if you permit me, I'd like to return back to the latest discovery in Saqqara, and this time speaking in more details about the tombs. And with the press conference in which many of our officials spoken in detail. For example, the General Director for the Saqqara Archaeological Site, Sabri Farag, said the first tomb uncovered was revealed to belong to a top 5th dynasty official identified as Hin Sutba, and the other for what he called himself a priest or Qaddis named Men Kheba, who lived in the 18th dynasty. Would you please elaborate on those two?
Well, the 5th dynasty, the Hisutba, this was a tomb hewn in the rocks on the ground level. It is a very beautiful one, exactly like those of the Old Kingdom. They have the main scenes of the daily life scenes very well preserved and with beautiful colors. The fishing scenes, the hunting scenes, the agricultural work in the fields, the boats, men in papyrus boats, quarreling, and all the very vivid scenes, and also the funerary scenes also. So it is the style of the 5th dynasty, exactly copying all the texts that are in Menereruka and Tahotep and all these tombs, very well known tombs. So this is a very beautiful tomb. Yeah. The tomb of the New Kingdom, it revealed a very nice statue, an alabaster statue of a priest. Or if I come back to the tomb of the 5th dynasty, yes, the owner of the tomb was maybe a governor of the nome, and he was responsible for digging the canals, and he was a priest, and he was an overseer of the treasury. He had lots of very, very important titles.
And what also we know that there are scenes of daily life and even of the war, describing different occasions, I mean, on the walls of those tombs. Why was that famous for the ancient Egyptians to write or to document all the daily routine scenes or even the war scenes on the walls of the tombs?
Well, all the tombs in the Old Kingdom and later on were divided into two different main items for scenes. One of them was for the daily life, and the daily life means every activities of the owner of the tomb in daily life, and then the funerary scenes where he wants to go to the other world. how he's going to worship the gods who will take him to the other world. Why does he do that? Because he wants to transfer all these activities to his other life. That's why always the tombs have always the daily life scenes. It's not because he wants to say, oh, I did and I did. He always wants to transfer all these activities to the other world. So the funerary part is the spells that has to be recited so that these activities are transferred and that become, by reading the spells, everything becomes real. You see? And that was all over the history of Egypt. This was the case in
Dr. Ola,
all the history of Egypt.
Yeah. Dr. Ola, I was really proud when I know that the mission is purely Egyptian. And all the scientists and all the archaeologists and all those responsible for these great discoveries, not only that one, by the way, this is only one of them, they are purely Egyptian. Of course, we welcome all the expeditions and all the archaeologists coming from all over the world to help us and to join us in discovering our treasures of our ancient Egyptian civilization. But I cannot I cannot deny that I felt that proud to know that they were all Egyptians. Would you please elaborate on that and elaborate on the wonderful human cadres we have now who can really lead this field?
Well, these are the excavations of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, and they've got a very, very good team, Egyptian, all Egyptian. The workers are Egyptian, the restorers are Egyptians. Of course, this is the Supreme Council of Antiquities. But if you want to talk about another Egyptian, purely Egyptian mission, the mission I am leading in Saqqara also is it's purely Egyptian. It is the Cairo University mission in Saqqara. So this is the second purely Egyptian mission which I'm headed. And then there are other faculties that have also their sites purely Egyptian. So the Egyptian discoverers become more and more known nowadays.
And the historians too, as far as I know.
Of course,
that there is going to be a very huge department for historians in the Grand Egyptian Museum. And this is going to be a second story or a second leap in this regard, if you agree with me on that.
Of course, the restoring workshop in the Cairo, the GEM or the Grand Egyptian Museum is a wonderful one. And we have fantastic restorers, of course. In our Faculty of Archaeology, we have a restorer, department of restoration. And this department is the one that takes out, gives all these restorers to every museum.
One final question, Dr. Ola, regarding the guests we saw with Mr. Mustafa Waziri, the General Secretary of our Antiquities Council, and of course His Excellency Minister of Tourism, Minister Isa. You know, this is what we call free propaganda for Egypt. I mean, all those foreigners, the ambassadors, the foreign diplomats here in Egypt who came to join us in celebrating this discovery, I think that they are going to return home with unforgettable memories, and they are going to speak more about what they have seen themselves. So this is a way or another to say, to let them be our ambassadors in their countries. How do you see this?
It's very important. We have the diplomats, we have the heads of the foreign mission, the head of the foreign, how do you call?
Media
like
reporters and academics also.
Pardon?
Academics also. I mean, it was a bundle.
Yes, of course. I was the one, I and other of my colleagues were representing the academic faculty, Cairo University and other universities. There were the heads of the institutions, the foreign institutions, archaeological institutions in Cairo, like the French Institute, the German Institute, the all the foreign, the American Research Center, everyone was there, and of course the diplomats and ambassadors. It was very crowded, and it is very important to invite all every institution and all the diplomats in such occasions.
Mm-hmm. We are lucky, and we should be proud of being Egyptians, Dr. Ola.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yes, of course. Well, I enjoyed my discussion with you, and I'm going to leave you, Dr. Ola, with a promise to see you here live in the studio to speak in details, in more details about our discoveries and about the magic of our ancient Egyptian civilization. Promise? Well, this was Dr. Ola El Egezi, our historian and researcher. Right after the short break, we are going to return back with more in our breakfast show, so stay tuned.